A troubled history. Israel and Lebanon. The relationship between Israel and Lebanon is fraught with tension and marked by repeated conflicts. Understanding the roots of this animosity is crucial to grasping the potential for escalation. The creation of Israel in 1948 had profound consequences for the region, including Lebanon. A significant Palestinian refugee population settled in Lebanon, adding to the already complex social fabric of the country. The presence of Palestinian militant groups in Lebanon, particularly after their expulsion from Jordan in 1970, further strained relations with Israel. These groups used South Lebanon as a base for cross-border raids against Israel, prompting retaliatory strikes. This cycle of violence culminated in the 1982 Lebanon War, when Israel invaded Lebanon to expel the Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO. The war resulted in a protracted Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon, lasting until 2000. During this period, Hezbollah, a Shia Islamist political party and militant group, emerged as a powerful force in Lebanon. Hezbollah's staunch opposition to Israel and its commitment to armed resistance further complicated the dynamics of the conflict. The withdrawal of Israeli forces in 2000 did not bring lasting peace. Hezbollah and Israel have engaged in several subsequent confrontations, most notably the 2006 Lebanon War. This month-long conflict resulted in significant casualties and destruction on both sides, highlighting the volatile nature of the relationship. Simmering tensions. Current state of affairs. The Israel-Lebanon border remains a potential flashpoint in the Middle East. Despite a UN-brokered ceasefire in 2006, tensions persist. Hezbollah maintains a formidable military arsenal, including an estimated 150,000 rockets and missiles, many capable of striking deep inside Israeli territory. Israel, for its part, closely monitors Hezbollah's activities and has vowed to prevent the group from acquiring advanced weapons systems. The Israeli military conducts regular exercises simulating a future conflict with Hezbollah, and its leaders frequently warn of the threat posed by the group. Adding to the volatility are several recent developments. The discovery of offshore gas reserves in the eastern Mediterranean has raised the stakes, with both Lebanon and Israel claiming rights to these resources. The ongoing civil war in Syria, where Hezbollah is fighting alongside the Syrian government, has also heightened tensions. Furthermore, the political situation in Lebanon remains precarious. The country is grappling with a severe economic crisis, exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic and the devastating 2020 Beirut port explosion. This instability could create opportunities for miscalculation or escalation, as Hezbollah might be tempted to exploit a crisis to rally support or divert attention from domestic issues. Beyond the borders, regional players and interests. The Israel-Lebanon conflict cannot be viewed in isolation. It is deeply intertwined with the broader geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East. Neighboring countries like Syria, Iran, and Saudi Arabia have vested interests in the outcome of any potential conflict and play a significant role in shaping the regional security landscape. Iran, as the primary backer of Hezbollah, provides the group with financial, military, and logistical support. Tehran sees Hezbollah as a crucial element in its regional strategy, a deterrent against Israel, and a tool to project power across the Levant. Iran's involvement, therefore, significantly increases the stakes of any conflict between Israel and Lebanon. Syria, though weakened by years of civil war, remains a crucial player. The presence of Iranian-backed forces, including Hezbollah in southern Syria, close to the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, is a constant source of concern for Israel. Any escalation between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon could easily spill over into Syria, further destabilizing the region. Saudi Arabia, a regional rival of Iran, views Hezbollah and its patron with deep suspicion. Riyadh sees Iranian influence in Lebanon as a threat to its own interests, and has actively sought to counter Hezbollah's influence. The Saudi-Iranian rivalry adds another layer of complexity to the conflict, with each side potentially seeking to exploit any escalation to advance its own agenda. Section 4. Global Stakes, Superpowers, and the Middle East Chessboard. The Israel-Lebanon conflict also draws in global powers, primarily the United States, Russia, and increasingly China. These powers have significant interests in the region, and their involvement can either mitigate or exacerbate tensions depending on their strategic calculations and diplomatic efforts. The United States has long been a staunch ally of Israel, providing significant military and financial aid. Washington views Israel as a crucial strategic partner in the Middle East, and has repeatedly affirmed its commitment to Israeli security. However, the U.S. also maintains diplomatic relations with Lebanon, and has provided significant aid to the Lebanese armed forces. This dual role places the U.S. in a delicate position, seeking to balance its support for Israel with its interest in preventing a wider conflict. Russia, with its growing military presence in Syria, has emerged as a key player in the region. Moscow's relationship with Hezbollah is complex, viewing the group as both an ally in the fight against Syrian rebels and a potential source of instability. Russia has walked a fine line, seeking to maintain working relations with both Israel and Hezbollah, while pursuing its own strategic objectives in Syria. China, though traditionally less involved in Middle Eastern affairs, has been steadily increasing its footprint in the region. Beijing's growing economic ties with countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia, coupled with its Belt and Road Initiative, signal a long-term strategic interest. While China has generally refrained from taking sides in regional conflicts, its growing influence means that it can no longer afford to remain disengaged. Section 5. Flashpoint Potential. Triggers for a wider war. Given the volatile mix of actors and interests, the potential for a localized conflict between Israel and Hezbollah, escalating into a wider war, is a real and present danger. Several potential flashpoints could ignite a broader conflagration, with unpredictable and potentially catastrophic consequences. One such flashpoint is the disputed maritime border between Israel and Lebanon. Both countries claim rights to a potentially lucrative gas field, and negotiations mediated by the U.S. have yet to yield a lasting agreement. Any unilateral action by either side, such as exploration or drilling activities, could be perceived as a provocation and spark a military confrontation. Another potential trigger is the ongoing presence of Iranian-backed forces in Syria. Israel has repeatedly struck targets in Syria, citing the need to prevent Iran from establishing a permanent military presence or transferring advanced weapons to Hezbollah. An escalation of these strikes, particularly if they result in significant casualties or damage to Syrian government forces, could draw Israel into a wider conflict with Iran and its allies. Furthermore, any miscalculation or accident could have unintended consequences. A border incident, a terrorist attack attributed to Hezbollah, or even a military exercise misinterpreted by either side could spiral out of control, particularly in the current climate of mistrust and heightened tensions. The risk of unintended escalation is further amplified by the lack of direct communication channels between Israel and Hezbollah. Section 6. The Path to Armageddon Escalation Scenarios. While a direct military confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah carries significant risks, the possibility of such a conflict escalating into a wider war, potentially drawing in regional and global powers, represents a truly frightening scenario. Several escalation pathways could lead to such a catastrophic outcome. One possible scenario involves a miscalculation during a limited border clash. An initial exchange of fire, perhaps triggered by a Hezbollah raid or an Israeli airstrike, could quickly escalate if either side misjudges the other's intentions or feels compelled to respond disproportionately. This could lead to a rapid expansion of hostilities, drawing in other actors and widening the scope of the conflict. Another plausible scenario involves a deliberate escalation by Hezbollah or its patron, Iran. Facing mounting pressure from sanctions and internal unrest, Iran might calculate that a limited conflict with Israel could serve its interests by diverting attention from domestic problems and rallying support for the regime. Hezbollah, acting on Iranian instructions, could launch a major offensive against Israel, triggering a massive Israeli retaliation and drawing the region into a wider war. A third and perhaps most dangerous scenario involves the accidental escalation of a localized conflict. A miscommunication, a technical malfunction, or even a false flag operation could lead to a situation where both sides believe they are under attack, prompting a preemptive strike. In the fog of war, with tensions already high and communication channels limited, it would be extremely difficult to de-escalate the situation, potentially leading to a catastrophic chain of events.